All right, Jesse on Fire, welcome back. Lots happened since we last chatted. And what's so crazy to me is how different the new information can be viewed depending on how you are approaching looking at this case. I think that the approach that people are taking, which are like, what is Donald Trump's involvement here? And then just leaving it at that is missing the point dramatically. Okay. Because now with the 20,000 documents that have been released by the GOP since yesterday, okay, this has sprawled a lot. Okay, so like there's a lot more going on than just like, oh, what did Trump know and when did he know and did he partake and all that stuff. However, it's going to take a long time to kind of go through all of that stuff. Now, what you will see on the other side of the screen, which you almost never see, is look at that. Wait, Jesse on Fire gave a thumbs down to a video? I never do that. Well, it's just because it's on Midas Touch and these guys are assholes and I don't like them. But the information in this video is extremely notable in both directions, okay? In both directions. Okay, let me ask you a question. If you found out that the way that the investigation into Jeffrey Epstein started in the early 2000s was Donald Trump turned him into the police, okay? That would probably be a very large revelation when you're looking at him in this thing. You're like, wait a minute. So Trump is the one who blew the whistle on him? That would obviously make him look very good. And it would, I don't know, for me, would relieve a lot of suspicion, right? And simultaneously, let's just say hypothetically that there were photographs of Donald Trump at Epstein's house with girls who were not fully, gosh, man, I get so scared to even talk about this because they want to bang my channel. But let's just say they were on his lap in the way that they came into this world. Okay, we're not talking about babies, but I'm just saying, like, none of these on, right? That would be pretty damning, right? And we're gonna get both of those things in this story. Okay, but it's also important to note that you have who the source is, okay? Very important. Because this is Michael Wolff, the guy from the emails who despises Trump. Despises Trump, okay? Absolutely despises him. Very important. But nonetheless, he says what he says. Now, I want to just make something. Oh, by the way, hey, what do you think about that, dude? What do you know about that? That's Nate Valhalla VFT's merch. You like that? America First. You can go check that out on his channel, dude. Hey, everybody's been asking me for merch for like 100 years. I'm like, yeah, I'll do it someday. And it's like, or I'll just buy a shirt from Nate and then promote his on my channel. So, but these shirts are sick, dude. And look at my arms, dude. If you got arms like a man, they fit real good. Okay, so we're gonna look at something else, and then we're going to go look at that because there's also another development related to the story that we covered yesterday related to Virginia Giuffre. Now, I feel like it's important that I make something clear on the front side, okay? If people think that I'm blindly defending Trump, I want to be very clear. I am in no way blind or defending anyone. It's just that if what we're talking about is someone being accused of like doing things with, the threshold of what I'm willing to accept as like permanent, okay, that's what that person is high. Like I need real, solid, bulletproof evidence before I'm going to go, okay, that's what that person is. Because the second that I take that into my heart, they're dead to me. Now, I've also said very clearly over and over and over that another threshold that is right there that I have a very bad feeling that he is actually going to jump over at some point is if he commutes Ghislaine's sentence, I'm done. Done. Okay? And so should every other person with a conscience because what she did is unforgivable. And he knows exactly what she did. And you really got to start asking, like, why? Because as these files came out today, it's unbelievable the number of different directions that these new files go, the number of people who are implicated now. And to think that this is just the beginning and that if they actually release all of the files, I can't even imagine what must be in those because these already look so bad. And candidly, like out of all the people who are going to be implicated in this, I think Trump is the least of their concerns. And so again, you got to ask yourself, like, why is he putting pressure on people to vote against them releasing the files? Like, what is going on? Why? Why do you not want these files to come out? Right? Because my hypothesis has always been, right, that I think what he's doing is he is doing what they're asking him to do over there because of this Gaza deal. And when you kind of take that into your heart and you really think about it, right, because what we're talking about is the rebuild and then ownership of the Gaza Strip. And you're like, okay, so I just want to make sure that I understand. The rebuild of Gaza is going to be a $50 billion construction deal. And Jared Kushner is taking the lead on that thing. And you know who he's negotiating for. Well, what is required for you to get that money? It's like, well, you need to look the other way while they demolish that entire area with the people in the buildings. Right? I mean, you know what I mean? It's like I think the reason why I never look super outraged at this kind of thing is I just expect the worst from everyone. You know, it's like, oh my gosh, someone who's in the top of the government is corrupt and is prioritizing their own financial gain over the livelihoods or just like lives of other people. It's like, I mean, yeah, that's people are flawed. And when you're talking about that much money, people will do terrible things. But on the other side, then you also have them like, hey, we need you to block this Epstein thing. And you're like, okay, dude, like, why would they be blocking this? Well, we need to protect our people. It's like, protect them from what? What did they do? You know what I mean? So like, to be clear, like I'm not, you know, on the, you know, I'm not like sitting on a, no matter what he does, I have his back. That is not what I'm doing. But I also am not going to pretend to not know so much about the Epstein case that I can't look at certain things and go, okay, well, he clearly did not do this because of X, Y, Z. Okay. So that is what we're doing. And we're going to get into it right this second. All right. So first of all, let's go to the interview and let me show you. Actually, you know what? Let me start here first. So this is what Michael Wolff said. Oh, wait, real quick. If you guys don't mind subscribing to the channel, that would be amazing. We're going to handshake it. Thank you guys very much. Appreciate you guys subscribing and then also liking the video. All right, so we're gonna look at a couple things. Then I'm gonna show you a sponsor real quick because listen, dude, I have obligations here. Okay, I can't just not do my sponsorship obligations. And then we're gonna look at that video, which is very, very interesting. Like I said, because someone turned Epstein into the police, and it's Trump. Okay, that's where this is going. But first, Michael Wolff says, this is another one. Michael Wolff to Epstein. There's an opportunity to come forward this week and talk about Trump in such a way that could garner you great sympathy and help finish him. Interested? This is in 2016, right before the election. Okay. Michael Wolff is scum of the earth, dude. Oops, that's not what I was meaning to do. I meant to do this. Okay. And the other thing right here that was very interesting is this is an email that went from Jeffrey Epstein to himself. And what he's doing right here is it says list for Steve Bannon. Okay, this is in 2019. Now, I did not go and research exactly what the relationship was between Bannon and Trump at that point. But it's notable because, look, it's like he literally just lists, look at the people that are listed on this. These are all like, some are first names, some are last names, some are full names, but I mean, this is an astronomical number of people. Okay, look at these names: Khashoggi, Rockefeller, Barack, Mabuto, Blair, Mette, President King PM, Gergen, like, you know, and you got Bill Gates on here. You have everybody that you could think of that might be compromised on by Epstein is on this list. Now, suspiciously absent, though, is our current president. Okay. But check this out. So this is another thing because they're trying to say, you know, they're all saying like, oh, Jeffrey Epstein's best friends with Trump. Now, it would be idiotic for people to pretend that Trump was not friends with Epstein because he definitely was until 2004. But here's another thing. Now, this went from Epstein to Sultan bin Salayem. And the Salayem had said, do you know him? I heard he is close to Trump. This is in 2018 when Trump was in his first term. And Epstein says, never heard of him. Donald is close to no one. He talks to many people. He tells each one something different. Okay. Now, and then going back to what we said yesterday, what we were talking about yesterday, this is really important. Okay. Because what they were talking about when he said he spent hours with her at my house. Right now, everybody's like, oh my God, that means he definitely, what do you think he was doing? You know, what's he doing spending hours with her? Okay. Well, now you get the answer. And there's a reason why they conveniently redacted those things, okay? Because this right here, this black is Virginia Gouffre. And it says, Virginia worked at Mar-a-Lago. Trump knew of it. He came to my house many times during that period, okay? So right there, that's what he's referencing, that he spent many hours with her at his house, okay? And then he says he never got a massage. So, bottom line, the implication that was made in the other email is not true, okay? Virginia Gouffre said a million times, Trump never put a hand on me. He was nothing but a gentleman. He did not touch Virginia Gouffre. Does that mean that he never touched any other girls? Of course not. As you're going to find out in a second, okay? Find that out in a second. I mean, again, you have to consider the source, but, and you also got to keep in mind again, Virginia was over 18 for not a small period. She, I believe, if I remember correctly, was hired when she was 16. Okay, so she's got 2 years there where she's underage. Bottom line, whoever she's touching, she's not only, the thing is though, honestly, the way I look at it is even when she's 18, she's there and she's been like, it still seems incredibly predatory for anyone to put a hand on her. So what? It's like crazy predatory on, the 2nd of August and then like the 14th. It's like, never mind. This is just totally on the up and up. Like it still seems totally monstrous to me, anybody who put a hand on her. And there's a lot of people who did. Just Trump's not one of them, right? So, and this is like, so this just shows this email was from Epstein, okay? Now, we're going to get to the bombshell here that Trump is the one who turned Epstein into the police in a second. But first, I got to show you a sponsor of this video, Prize Picks. It's NFL time, and that means it's time for you to join Prize Picks. I don't understand. What's daily fantasy? I'll explain that later. What you need to know right this second is that if you deposit $5 and put it in play, they will guarantee give you a free $50 regardless of whether or not you win with that $5 entry fee. Wait, I deposit $5 and I get $50 back regardless of whether I win. Yes, that's correct. So that'd be a 10x return guaranteed. Yeah, that's correct. So who wouldn't do that? I don't know, man. You tell me. Everybody is doing it. So tell us what else we get aside from $50 free. Well, you get to play the best daily fantasy game on the entire internet. Talk to me like a child and explain to me how to play. Prize Picks could not make this game more simple. You're going to pick which sport you want to play, and then you're going to start picking players that you're going to add to your roster. Then we're going to decide whether they're going to get more or less than the stat line provided by Prize Picks. We're going Shedeur Sanders, and we're going more because we are eternal optimists. Let's say you want to start small and you put $5 in play on your first roster. You can win up to $187.50. But if you're a big baller and you want to put, let's say, $50 in play, you can win up to $1,875. But let's say you are a big wallet gangster and you want to put $500 into a single roster. You can win up to $18,750 if all of your players deliver. Now, we also got some new features coming in with this new football season, and you're going to be able to play the same player up to 3 times with 3 different stat lines if you want. It's already live on Major League Baseball and WNBA. When you go to Prize Picks, you use the link in the description and you sign up and you use promo code JesseOnFire, you are going to get a free $50 once you put $5 in play. Use the link in the description, sign up using promo code JesseOnFire, put in $5 in play, and get your free $50 back. That's a 10x return. You are welcome. I love all of you guys. Let's go. All right, so in this clip, you are about to find out the actual story of what happened between Trump and Epstein, why their friendship fell out, and who turned Epstein into the police because it was Trump, okay? But he didn't do it for, it doesn't sound like he did it for like super, I don't know. Like he wasn't like being a hero. He did it vindictively, but he still did it. So anyway, let's watch this right now. And you guys can tell me what you think about all of it. All right, let me go back just a little bit. All right, watch this.
89 and went on to until 2004 when they had a falling out over a real estate deal. And during that time, they were as close as you could possibly be. I mean, I think that it was the central relationship, the longest lasting relationship and the most influential relationship in the lives of both men. And for
what? I'm sorry, I hadn't gone back this far in that. What the fuck are you talking about? It's the most influential relationship in their lives for both men. How could you possibly say a thing like that, like about anyone? What the fuck are you talking about? That's an idiotic statement, period. Michael Wolff is absolute fucking scum. But nonetheless, let's listen. That's such a dumb statement. No matter who he's talking about. What are you talking? Just some guy I'm friends with is even if I'm like really good friends with him, that's the most influential fucking relationship I've ever had. How could some other person have any idea about that? That's so dumb. I hate this fucking guy. This guy is a piece of shit.
For natural reasons. They were both interested in the same thing, women and money.
Right. The reason why I asked that question is because, I started my relationship with Trump in 2005. And my relationship, obviously, with Trump lasted for about 13 years thereafter, till 2018, until my indictment.
Right.
And during that period of time, I never heard Jeffrey Epstein's name. I never saw Jeffrey Epstein not once in the office. I never heard Jeffrey Epstein.
As I say, this ended in 2004. There was a piece of real estate.
I hadn't heard that either, dude. I swear to God. Where are we at? Yeah, so I told everybody to start at minute 8. Probably should have told him a little earlier. So Michael Cohen never heard Epstein's name, never saw Epstein, never. And he was Trump's lawyer. So
in Palm Beach. It was a house Jeffrey Epstein believed that he was the top bidder in an auction. He had bid $36 million. He took his friend Donald Trump with him to see the house to advise him on moving the swimming pool. At which point, Donald Trump went around his back and bid $40 million for the house and ultimately bought the house.
Now, okay, that's super fucked up. That's super fucked up.
You're talking about the disc-shaped house that he bought from the RTC, the one that was on the ocean.
Yeah, well, it was the one that the Russian oligarch subsequently bought.
Yeah, that's the one. It's the one that
yes.
Dmitry Rybolovlev bought for $95 million.
Exactly. And 2 years later, so from 40 million to 95 million in, I think, less than 2 years.
Damn, I need to get in on one of those deals, man. That's amazing.
Epstein's view, Epstein was furious. These guys at some level, what is the thing that makes them most furious? Real estate. Epstein believed that Trump did not have the money to buy the house. Therefore, he was fronting for someone else. And he began to rattle that cage. He began to go to the press. Epstein was extraordinarily mad about this. And he began to threaten Donald Trump. At which point, Epstein believed that Donald Trump went to the Palm Beach police and said, Jeffrey Epstein has young girls at his house, thereby beginning the legal process, which would ultimately bring Jeffrey Epstein down.
Damn. That is a sordid, convoluted tale, man. Like, you know what I mean? These two guys, what do they have in common? It's like, well, they both love women and they both love money. It's like, wow. Well, that's awesome. Good for them. And it's like, hey, Donald, what do you think of Jeffrey Epstein? He's like, he loves women just as much as I do. Except he seems to really love them on the young side. You're all, you sure you want to make that quote? Like, that's the quote that you want to put out publicly. Like, it feels like that's not going to age well, especially if you end up diming him to the cops and it turns out that he gets caught and you're on record being like, love this guy, especially his taste in women, which happened to be well below the legal threshold where he should be hanging out with him. But nonetheless, can't blame a guy. You can't blame a guy for not remembering that he had said that publicly when he turned him into the cops. Now, again, this is the moment where you're like, okay, wow, this is this should basically exonerate Trump across the board in all of this tomfoolery, right? Except and again, I want to be clear in this next part. I'm not saying, even if this is true, if the girls are overage, if they're over 18, who cares? Right? But I'm saying optically, regardless of whether they're overage or not, if this is true and they can actually prove this is true, this is not good. You know what I mean? Like, because there's two things. Like, Trump's like, he's not going to get arrested on any of this stuff. None of this stuff is going to lead to him being arrested. All of this for him is about optics. Okay. How are people going to view this? And if this is something that people can produce, if they release the files, like as an example, okay, this is what I'm saying. Trump is trying desperately to block the release of the Epstein files, right? And what I'm saying is, what's in there? Like, why is he having Lauren Boebert come to his office so he can put pressure on her to not vote to legally mandate them to release these files? What's in there, right? Okay, well, what he's going to reference here in a second, which is Polaroid pictures, would almost certainly have been in the FBI raid when they went and raided his stuff and they took it all back and all of that. Like, all of the stuff that the feds got is all in their possession. So just keep that in mind when you hear what he says, whether it's illegal or not. Imagine what this would do for the Trump administration optically, assuming that they did in fact have these and they were going to release them if the files get released.
Now, I've said before that Donald Trump certainly knew what was going on at Epstein's house, and in fact, I have seen pictures, a set of Polaroid pictures that Epstein would sometimes display of Donald Trump prior to 2004 at Epstein's Palm Beach house, around the pool with young girls. I mean, I don't know how, I don't know the ages of these girls, but they were young girls. I mean, I would say, let's be specific. I doubt if they were 20 years old. They may have been 18, but I don't know. And there were about a dozen pictures. There are 3 of them I specifically remember. 2 of them with girls sitting on Trump's lap and they are topless. And then a third, Trump has a stain on the front of his pants, and the girls, 3, 4, 5 girls are laughing, pointing and laughing at him.
So, because both of these ugly, like, snare-faced weirdos are probably pretty unfamiliar with an environment like that. Okay, let me just translate that for you because it actually speaks to the environment that Jeffrey had, like Jeffrey Epstein. I don't want to sound like he's in my inner circle, but the environment that he had created, right, where he recruits these girls, he turns them into these like little starving little minxes that are like, all I think about is sex. Oh my gosh, Donald has a stain on the front of his pants. Come on, girls. Ha ha ha. Point at his wiener. Okay. Like, that's all part of this entire story. It's like the environment that this guy created. You think that's by accident? You think that like that's like just, oh, oopsie. It's like speaks specifically to the exact environment that he's creating. And again, imagine either of these clowns walking into there, dude. Like, if either of these guys walked in there and then these girls are playing that game with him and they're like, can you show me where the bar is upstairs? They're going to be all, no thanks. These 2 idiots are like walking dummies who are going to walk straight into the honeypot that's being, set for them. But again, going back to the picture, right? I believe that picture is probably very real. The picture, Trump, topless girl in his lap, right? Okay, well, like he said, you can't tell how old they are. And a 20-year-old doesn't look 30. So essentially what you're going to have if those get released is you're going to put the president of the United States in a position where he has to defend the age of topless girls sitting on his lap at Jeffrey Epstein's pool. Okay? Like, hello, what? I mean, geez, hey, why is he so frantically trying to block these files? It's like, well, if there's a photograph, of scantily clad girls sitting on his lap at a pool that is definitely Jeffrey Epstein's house. I mean, it's not like at that point, it doesn't matter whether it's legal or illegal. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying he did anything illegal. He might not have, or he might have, who knows? Like, my point is like, that is a headshot optically, right? So you learned 2 things here in this video. Very important. A, Trump turned Epstein into the cops. I think that is very important. Okay. 2 is there seems to almost certainly be evidence in the files that is going to look very bad for him, because that's going to look real bad. And the cops almost for sure have that. Or the feds almost certainly have that stuff because they have boxes and boxes and boxes of stuff that they pulled out of his Palm Beach place. They pulled out of Epstein Island and all that stuff. So it's like, you know, like I said, dude, you can rest assured I am going to give a fair shake to everybody that, you know, but I'm also not going to pretend that I didn't hear that. You know what I mean? It's like, and again, it doesn't mean he did anything wrong, but he might have, but more so, it's irrelevant because if that picture exists, he's going to do everything he can to block the files, including pulling people in and being like, don't vote for it, please. So I don't know. Do with that what you will. I love you guys. Subscribe to the channel, ring the bell. Bye-bye.